Good day, everyone. Welcome to Gisdak Sabbath School Weekly Summary. This week, we learned the third lesson of our Bible study guide, The God of Love and Justice. The title of our lesson this week is To Be Pleasing to God. Our memory text this week taken from Zephaniah 3 verse 17. The Lord your God in your midst, the mighty one will save. He will rejoice over you with gladness. He will quiet you with his love. He will rejoice over you with singing. Have you ever wondered if there is any sin or fault that you make that will cause God to stop loving you? Let's take a look at the parable of the prodigal son that was written on Luke 15, verse 11 to 32. The story reveals to us how great the Lord's compassion and love is. The son who asked for the portion of inheritance before its time, then go to waste the money on his own ways and ended up with wasted himself. When he came back to his father's home, he hoped that he might be accepted as a servant. Yet the father, who has all rights to reject the prodigal sons, when his father saw him and had compassion, and ran and fell on his neck and kissed him. Luke 15, verse 20. His faults did not change the value and worth of the prodigal son to his father. All of us are more valuable than we can imagine in the sight of the Lord. Zephaniah 3:17. The Lord your God in your midst, the mighty one will save. He will rejoice over you with gladness. He will quiet you with his love. He will rejoice over you with singing. God's joy is reserved for the day of restoration when he will receive his people and rejoice over us, even as the Father rejoiced over his prodigal son. Is it possible for us to pleasing God? The Bible says in Psalms 149 verse 4, For the Lord takes pleasure in his people. He will beautify the humble with salvation. God's love is not selfish, but selfless. He is most pleased by what makes us genuinely happy. Proverbs 15 verse 8 to 9. The sacrifice of the wicked is an abomination to the Lord, but the prayer of the upright is his delight. The way of the wicked is an abomination to the Lord, but he loves him who follows righteousness. The Lord loves those who follow righteousness, because it is righteousness that will bring us peace, quietness, and assurance. How could we bring him delight and please him? Hebrews 11 verse 6 said that without faith it is impossible to please God. Without God's intervention, fallen people are incapable of bringing anything valuable to God. Yet God, in his grace and mercy, has made a way through the word of Christ. Those who respond to God by faith are accounted righteous in his sight through the mediation of Christ, whose righteousness alone is acceptable. And those who respond to God's loving overture are accounted worthy through Christ's mediation, and he transformed them into his likeness. Without faith, it is impossible to please God. And yet Jesus accepts even the smallest faith. And by faith, through the mediation of Christ, we can be pleasing to him. Through faith and because of Christ's work on our behalf, we can respond in ways that please God, similar to the way that a human father is pleased when a child brings him a gift that is otherwise worthless. The Lord is disappointed when his people place a low estimate upon themselves. He desires his chosen heritage to value themselves according to the price he has placed upon them. God wants them, else he would not have sent his son on such an expensive errand to redeem them. He has a use for them, and he is well placed when they make the very highest demand upon him, that they may glorify his name. If we consent, Jesus will so identify himself with our thoughts and aim, so blends our hearts and mind into conformity to his will, that when obeying him, we shall but be carrying out our own impulses. May God help us to understand the lesson, and see you at class this Sabbath. God bless.